Okay.
This is the second stop of the tour. And I get my groups together. Usually they're a lot larger than this.
What's going on here with the 5 and the 6? And the
These
2?
are probably, I don't draw much attention because they're like my adversary.
Okay.
I know people love, I'm not really computer savvy, just enough to get me by, right? But those, if somebody walks up to them with their phone,
Right.
and I'm trying to conduct a tour, their phone goes off, they start talking.
Okay.
There's a speech that goes with these.
Okay.
It's an application on their smartphones.
All right.
And I mean, it's great for people that are computer savvy, but on the other hand, I have to look at things from a job security point of view.
Speaking to the mic. Job security.
Job security. Oh. Yeah, I had to get that in there now, I had to.
Well, actually, so far, you are 10 times better than the QR.
Oh,
And I'm not just saying that because in actuality, this is the first and real social media.
correct.
That is digital and technologically enabled, but it's only a representation of this.
You know, I've always said that because when you come to New York Power Authority, I'm going to be the last thing you're going to remember. You're not going to remember all this, and that's why sometimes, like, I love working with the people. I do, and I have been honored to give out. I'm going to show. We're getting in there the 2 tours that have gone in the plant, the big ones since 9/11, and one of them was the Men That Built the Project. So we'll be seeing, and I really want to bring that up because I put that on here. They brought in 2 hard hats, original hard hats from the construction, and they gave them to our trustee, Mark O'Luck. Did you have a chance to meet Mark O'Luck?
Yes.
He's wonderful, and I don't even think he's one of our. I don't think he's a trustee anymore.
We
But-
know the name.
You know the name?
Yes.
He's such a, not to mention he's a fine dresser, but I mean, he's quite a gentleman. But he loved those hats, and they were going to give one of them to him, but he wants them left here and put in an exhibit. And that would be something really, really fine we could do on behalf of them. And they're down in Lou's office, these 2 hard hats, the original hard hats. All right, so now, here's the 3Ds, which, man, to me, you could do so much with these.
And so you would tell them what we're looking at here?
Now I'm going to take you to my second stop on the tour, and I'm going to stop you right here before we go in the visitor center.
Okay.
This is where the meat of my tour takes place, right here. Because I always, like I said, they can view all of this on the way out at their own pace.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to stop here. I'm going to treat you just like I treat a tour. All right, everybody. I don't talk about it unless it's directly in front of me.
Is this the kids' tour or this?
I'm going to, usually, this is going to be the kids' tour, but even some of my adults get the same tour. I don't talk about it unless it's directly in front of me. And so I start right with that bridge. 2 reasons why I point out the bridge. A, that's where Niagara Falls was 12,000 years ago. Mother Nature has carved a beautiful path through the gorge, got Category 5 rapids, some of the strongest in the world down around the bends there. And if you were a bird, I always tell them you could fly there and get there in about 4 miles, but that path that Mother Nature carved was about 7 miles. Now, I point that bridge out for a second reason. I like you to look to the left if we're going to go to Canada for a minute. You don't even need your passport, I tell them. See the building on the angle? The little one on the angle, that's the Stratton-Beck 1. You don't really get a straight shot of it. It's underneath that long rectangular beige building. That was built in the late teens, 19 teens, into the 20s. Cost about $23 million to build that plant back then. I go, that was a lot of money then. That's a lot of money today. And then I tell them the plant that's connected to it, that's facing us straight away, it's got the concrete fingers just like ours does, is the Stratton-Beck 2. I go, those 2 are about half our size in installed or firm capacity, whichever people, you get all kinds of different terms, so I just kind of say they're about half our size in generation. Now, I always tell all the kids, look above the lines over there, all the grid that's exposed. And they always like, oh, I go, we're going to come back to good old US of A, see old Glory flying here? I go, look above our trees. Where's our grid? You know, I have them guessing what do we call these things that bring the power to the house, and they love all that. But I say if it's not above the trees, it's where, and then they know it's under. Now I'm gonna introduce you to Robert Moses. And then I go right into Robert Moses. I go, when he was brought here, and you'll see this in the movie downstairs in the theater, the Shelkoff collapse around 1:15 in the afternoon on June 7, 1956. And Robert Moses was brought here, the bequest of the governor and other higher powers. We had an energy crisis on this side to build what you're looking at. And I said, now turn around. Look at this beautiful facility behind us here. What is that? And then I always tell the kids, oh, anybody follow basketball? And they, oh, yeah. And I go, what school is that right there? And then they're like, don't know. And I go, well, then there's a little sign right there. And they go, oh, Niagara University. I said, when Robert Moses came here, he was our former States Parks Commissioner. He was an engineer by trade. He had 2 engineering degrees. He was the master builder of the state of New York, especially if you're for downstate. A lot of people bring up the stuff from downstate. There's not a lot about Robert Moses in here. That might be something we do get asked a lot about him, and there's not a lot about Robert Moses. See, the problem with Robert Moses is you either loved him or you hated him because he was very controversial, especially in downstate. So, but nevertheless, you got to give him his kudos. This wouldn't have gotten done by anybody else. So the kids looked next door, and I said he was our former States Parks Commissioner. So it was very important to him to keep it looking park friendly. So he buried a lot of the cables, the internals, underground out to the switch yard. That's why it's not, well, normally we don't have all this construction, but normally it's very pleasant to the eye here. Now I always incorporate O'Malley and how powerful he was with the baseball. That's not important right now. We're not going to get into all that. Then I say, okay, now let's look out the window. Let's dissect what we're looking at. You've taken, oh, we got a lot of generation going on. Remember I told you about the Unit 1 and the fishing pier? See, now you can't see Unit 1 from here. See the end of the assembly bay, that big building?
Sure.
Unit 1's discharge is right behind it, so you can't see it. That's why they call. Do you see what see it down there? All right. So see, that's how much you can see. You can even see how many units we've got running today, actually.
But that is, I can zoom in on it. That is, however, the water that's being stirred.
Correct.
Down the
That's
bottom.
the discharge. That's coming out of the draft tubes below
Awesome.
the generators. But you can't see Unit 1. See, it's blocked. That's why the fishermen call all the time. Or they physically come in. So if that information would be at a kiosk, that'd be pretty cool. They could just come in, hit the fishing pier button, and find out. You know? Find out, A, if the pier's even open, and find out if Unit 1's generating. You don't have to give them any top secret information. Just keep it pretty simple.
Got it.
All right, and then at this point, you go back to those little, I told them, I zoomed in on the camera, those little things. I go, I don't really like talking about those because they're not good for job security. Terry knows, she got her hands full here, I'm sorry, what can I say? But anyhow, do you guys have any questions about what you're looking at right here, or anything that I might be able to give you here?
I really feel stupid, but I still
No.
don't understand. It seems to me you have 5 of these units. Are one of them Unit 1? Or 5 their water seems to be generating from 5 different generators.
Okay, you have 13 at this end. You have 13, see those steel boxes down there? Now I'm gonna go in a little detail for you. Those are called hatch covers. Under the hatch covers are where the generators are housed. The generators are not like Sir Adam Beck 2, and they're not like Hoover. A lot of people have been to Hoover Dam. We're always getting compared to Hoover. They're not pods sitting out on an assembly bay floor where you can physically see them. They're buried in concrete, far below the water
And they're
levels down there.
huge,
They're
because if you look at
huge.
that person that's
Yes.
walking across there,
Yes.
they're now 10 times bigger than I thought they were.
Absolutely. Are you guys getting to go down there or no?
Well, if we,
Today they are.
Oh,
Not
okay,
today.
not
Yeah.
today.
But no,
Okay,
I mean,
it's
I put the
really
tr-
cool.
Yeah, I have the
But-
truck in there just so the scale.
Yeah.
unless kind of, taking you out for ice cream or something like that will get us a trip down there, we could.
Security.
No,
have to be-
No,
like
I
Terry
get it
could.
cleared through.
Oh,
she's
you mean
gotta
the
get-
security
yeah,
people
she's
need
gotta
ice
get you
cream?
through.
Hold
Oh,
on for a
security
second.